I did not plan to come to this plantation at all, and yet everywhere I walked there was a sign for the Jarrell Plantation, almost calling me to come and view it and visit it. So here we are.
Nestled in the red clay hills of Georgia, this cotton plantation was owned by a single family for more than 140 years. The Jarrell Plantation historic site is one of the last remaining examples of a vanishing culture, with its authentic 19th century and early 20th century plantation buildings typical to Middle Georgia, representing the change from an agriculture to an industrial-based economy.
I can hear the chickens down below. I may be on the wrong walkway, we'll see. I apparently went down the wrong walkway, but I've made it to the Jarrell house, just not the Jarrell house that I expected to go to. This one is actually used as a bed and breakfast, it looks like.
For 28 years, this bed and breakfast operated here right next to the Jarrell Plantation, and they offered guests a place to stay here in Juliette, Georgia. However, they recently did close their doors in January, and now it's part of the plantation.
Okay, so the official tour actually starts on the other side of the entrance to the park, and there's a clear walkway that takes you down into the historic portion of this park. This was the family garden, but currently it looks like there's cotton bits that are still remnant. This is the other side of those chickens. They're obviously much quieter now. I think that chicken or rooster might have been trying to tell me I was on the wrong path, who knows. But now that I'm on this side, he is incredibly quiet. There's the Jarrell house. "12 children used to live in here." I do not know how that was possible, but fireplace, no insulation, just the boards, the beds, a bedroom. Perhaps they had bunk beds in here, actually. I don't know. Maybe they're bunk beds, but they said that a lot of the beds and the furniture were just passed down and given. So these are originals. So it's very possible that this was the setup. Maybe they had 3-4 kids to each bed. I'm not positive. 2 or 3. I'm not sure. Somehow they managed to fit 12 kids growing up in this very small space. They said that all of the furniture is actually passed down by family members, since the family members are currently living in the Jarrell Plantation, the one that's a bed and breakfast. So they're currently constantly passing down family heirlooms and things that they want to have on display or to give to the park. So very interesting. It's like they had beehives that were probably out in the fields. And then it says this terrace was a slope. It was in the 1920s. It was sloped for soil erosion. And then there's stair-step fields that help hold the soil and divot water that would otherwise create the gullies in the hillside. They did it all by hand with mules pulling a scoop shovel. You can see the first of it here. Very clear stepstone. Not as clear as you go down, but that's just part from the years. This is a well shelter, 45 foot. It says it was a 45-foot well that was dug with pick, shovel, and blasting powder to break through the rock. They used to cook cane sugar to 80-gallon kettles. The rock work was later extended to accommodate long metal evaporator pans. This was all that was left standing after the fire and was the original home site for the Jarrells. John Fitzgerald built the plantation plain style in about 1847. This was back when they farmed cotton. The front room of the porch served as a bedroom for lodging teachers, guests, and older children, and then the large front room inside served as a bedroom, nursery, parlor, sewing room, and office. Most of the furniture on display was made by John. Stairs lead up to a second floor with sleeping quarters for the boys and storage. Beside the front room was the girls' bedroom, and back porch was enclosed to provide 2 additional rooms, a dining room and a bedroom. In the 1890s, Mattie Jarrell ran a small store out of the back room, which also served as the Cardsville post office. The homestead originally included a large barn out front. They've got it all locked up, so you actually really cannot go in. You can only just get a view from what you can see through these little openings. So from what I can see, the doorway over there. We'll just peek through the window. See what we can see through the window here. They've got a majority of it caged off, so you can't actually walk into the home, but the definite scent of wood is evident as you walk up through these walkways. They've got a ton of historic artifacts here and a ton of history here. It's really neat to see the original wood burning stove in the very, very far back, as well as some of the old furniture. So this was the root cellar where they'd keep their potatoes and buttermilk and things like that to keep cool in the winter. It's just basically a log cabin that was set aside to keep everything cooler. So interesting enough, the very first post office was actually here at Jarrell Plantation. So if you are looking to see all the different post offices in the area, the very first one would be here. Although I'll be honest, there really are not any artifacts showcasing anything from the post office. Really, it's just more of an information placard stating that it was at one time the post office, a portion of it as the post office. The rest of it was their house, obviously, and used for various things as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous construction from the early 1800s. Really neat to see. So apparently everything behind me is where the farm originally took place, and it was all destroyed in the Civil War. Like most things that burnt down during that time frame, this was the only building that was left standing. So afterwards they decided to have their farm push forward, and most of the construction was actually constructed on the opposite side from where the fire had taken place. And to be honest, it's more of a gully than the original, which looks like it's been overtaken by woods. I was told that there's a bird sanctuary nearby. Perhaps this was set aside for them. Dick Jarrell gave up teaching when he purchased 4 acres of the family plantation, and on the acreage he built a small house which he and his wife Mammy raised 12 children. As he acquired more land, he diversified the farm by adding steam-driven sawmill, which is this here. He added the cotton gin, the grist mill, the shingle mill, planter, sugarcane press, syrup evaporator, and workshop, as well as a barn and outbuildings. In 1974, his descendants donated these buildings to establish the Jarrell Plantation Historic Site. The gin house was the industrial center of Dick Jarrell's farm. It was completed in 1895 and housed a sawmill, grist mill, cotton gin, fanning mill, and then a cotton bale press. A series of belts connected the equipment to a steam engine that was fueled by wood-fed oil. Pretty neat to see so much still intact. Can you imagine the tree trunks that would be going through here in order to be cut by this wood mill? I mean, whoa, the saw length is incredible. So there's a little tiny part of me that feels like I'm stepping back to Little House on the Prairie in scenes where Charles is at the lumber area of the town. You think? And this is the small engine house, a 12-horse powered Schofield steam engine. It was Jarrell's first engine and was actually mounted where the Talbot is now. In 1916, the engine was permanently mounted and this house was built around it. Belts passed through 2 openings to connect to the other machines. Note the overhead pipe that brought the steam to the boiler. This is where the sugarcane was evaporated. So this structure was completed for sugarcane production. They used evaporator pans, which were more efficient than using large kettles. So they had operators that would constantly skim the pans because as sugar is boiling, it froths. So people had to constantly skim the pans so that sugar wouldn't harden. And they had people doing that right there. Pretty neat to see. I actually didn't know that sugar could grow this far up north. I thought that it was a Caribbean thing specifically, and I did not realize that Georgia can grow sugarcane. But in Juliette, Georgia, apparently you can. The cane mill was used to remove the juice from the sugar cane for syrup by crushing the stalks. And these car engines were used to power the thresher. The planer mill smoothed the rough saw lumber, and then boards could be planed to any size or cut into tongue and groove flooring. This was one of the threshers that separated the wheat seeds from the stalk, and a reaper binder which cut the wheat and tied it into bundles. There's a mower and rake that were used to cut and collect the hay for livestock. They have a red wooden log cart that they harnessed mules to carry a single log from where it was cut to the sawmill. So many old items that are stored in here and obviously not used today. Storage bins of wheat were up there on the top. And then this was the blacksmith and carpentry workshop. It says in the dirt floored blacksmith shop on the left side, horse and mule shoes, harness chains, wagon wheels, and other rims were made or repaired, and then scrap metal was stockpiled for reuse, and then carpentry, harness repair took place in the other room. All the tools are original. The goat cart is identical to the one used by the Jarrell children. And then on the porch is a stone grinding wheel. How cool is this? A fish trap. This is actually really cool. There's so much to look at and so many tools inside of this carpentry area. The one thing that I thought was really cool is actually a fish trap that they've got here on the porch. Almost reminds me of a Native American fish trap. But I suppose with the times and the dates that they were constructed about the same. So it looks like that's about it. All the buildings that were here on the grounds. I can feel the rain starting, so I'm gonna head back. It was great to take a quick walk around the homestead and tour. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next adventure.